Hey guys, it's Janis. Welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be about setting goals for the new year. Setting goals for the new year has always been one of my favorite things to do during the holiday season because I just love setting goals and being clear about where I want to be in the next year. And I like making everything look nice, so it also is fun for me to write out my goals and how to achieve them in my bullet journal / my planner, just so everything looks good and I feel like in the right mindset for the new year. And so in this video, I'm going to show you how I set my goals, and there's a format that I do it in my planner, which is here. So I kind of have a method of how to write them out and how to break them down into pieces so they're actually achievable. And this is mine for this year, which is why some of them are covered because they're kind of personal. But I can also show you guys my one from last year, which is in my previous bullet journal. And it's basically the same format, and I found out it really worked for me in 2019, so I'm going to be doing the same thing this year. But yeah, after you write out your goals, you still have to actually do them, and I also try to use my bullet journal to help me achieve my goals last year. And some of the things I did was kind of setting out the details of how to achieve my goals, so this is that. And so this video is just going to be going through some of that. So as you can see, this is my planner for 2020, and I kind of put my goals at the start. And so what I do is I will write down the 6 categories that I want to improve in, and I'll also write down a word that will summarize my goal for that year. So for example, last year my goals were split into the 6 categories of Jesus, so faith, uni, physical health, mental health, relationships, and legacy. So this is a weird word. This was when I was kind of obsessed with Hamilton. So I loved the idea of being able to leave something behind on this earth. For now, I still have this category, but it's more focused on what I want to produce in the next year, as in, aside from uni and everything else, what do I want to do? So are there any new skills I want to learn, or anything I want to write or make that I can do in the next year, which is kind of vague, but I'll go into that. The word for each category is written up here, so that's my general goal for the year. And for example, for my faith, I wanted patience. For uni last year, I wanted to improve. That was the biggest thing I wanted to do. For physical health, I wanted to build habits. For mental health, I wanted peace. For relationships, I wanted community. And the legacy section, I wanted creativity. So it's kind of personal coming from where I was last year. Last year when I wrote this, I was 3 months into uni, and I was quite lost because I was in a different country for the first time in my life, and everything was just very new and kind of daunting to me, which is why some of my goals were community, because I didn't know a single person in London, so I really needed to build a community around me. So that was why community was my big goal. And stuff like improvement. So in my first term of uni, I also did horribly. So that was also why my goal back then was improvement. And this year, I mean, I don't want to share too much because it's a little bit personal. But yeah, so for example, for uni, my goal this year is just to do my best. Based off of my performance last year, I just want to keep that up. And for example, for a relationship, I want selflessness to be my word, because I feel like last year, after I had the goal of community, maybe for some time I would see relationships as quite strategic, so I'll try to build relationships around me that helped me. Whereas this year, I want to really be more selfless in my relationships and focus more on what I can give instead of what I can get. So that's why that is my goal. And so that is basically what my goals for next year look like. But I'll kind of show you guys how I set out my goals. So now I'm just going to show you guys how I kind of get that thing done. And assuming you have a bullet journal or some other kind of planner, you can just write that down, and I think it's great to always refer to it throughout the year. So for example, in this fake goals list, I'm going to write the word goals. And one of the things you might have noticed about my goals this year is that I didn't write goals, I wrote covenant. And the reason for that is that I believe God created us all for a reason, and we're not here to live for ourselves, we're here to live for Him. So By saying goals, I feel like it's often quite a self-centered word, and it's about how I can improve myself for my own gain, whereas covenant is like I'm making a promise to God that I will handle myself this way this year for His purposes. So that's the only reason I put the word covenant there instead of goals, but obviously it's the same thing. So the first thing you want to do is to figure out which categories of your life you want to write your goals in, and the best thing obviously is to get every single aspect of your life into the list. So for example, if you're married, I think marriage or your family would be a big category in your life, or like parenting would be a big category. Or if you're working, then your work life would be a big category. If you're a student, then school would be a big category. Just figure out for yourself personally what aspects of life you have that you can work on. But for me, I'm just gonna go with what I've always gone with. So first category, most important, is faith. So I'm just gonna write that here, faith. And then, oh no, this is already going badly. But second category, I'm in uni, so I'm gonna write uni. Third category, and the fourth category are actually things I think everyone should have, which is physical health and mental health. And then finally, my last two categories are relationships. And the last one is, I don't know, hobbies? Maybe hobbies, okay. So those are my 6 categories. And I think the first thing you want to do is just think about, is there any one word that can describe what you want for your next year, that can describe it perfectly? And so by having one big word for each category, I think it really helps you focus or pinpoint your goals. And you have to have a big word and then split it off into different action points so that you both have a general aim you're going for, but also have specific steps to work towards that. Pretend I'm a fake person and I'm just gonna make up my goals for this year. So this is just to give a little bit of color to the page. But for example, faith, maybe my goal for the year wants to be purity. For uni, maybe I want, let's say I want a first in my degree. For physical health, let's say I want to learn a new sport, or I want to try some new ways to be healthy, so maybe adventure? I don't know. And so once you have like your big goals of the year, it's time to start splitting them off into tiny action points so you can actually achieve them throughout the year. So for example, I'll just take uni as the example because it's kind of easy. If I want to get a first, then I need several action points. So maybe the first thing is to be consistent, or like never miss any lectures or tutorials. I'm going to write that. Do not miss lectures or tutorials. Maybe another goal could be to ask more questions during tutorials if you're quite a shy person normally. So ask questions could be a goal. Or maybe you could set some more specific time related goals, or so maybe like study, like let's say 6 hours per day. And so if you split it into action points, you can achieve it easier by knowing what steps you have to take in your life. But at the same time, by having this big word as your goal, you can really keep yourself focused and know what you're aiming for without being so scatter-minded into all these little things. And so that is basically how I would do my goals. And another thing, if you have a bullet journal, is you can actually split each of these boxes into one further page just to be even more detailed about how are you going to achieve the things you want to achieve. So I remember one of the things I did last year was, one of my goals was to build community, right? So that was my goal, which was to build community. And I wanted to make more specific action points about how exactly to do it. And so what I did was I kind of, because as I said, last year this time I was in a new country and had just met around like 100 new people, and there were just so many people in my life. So what I did last year was I wrote down a list of like people that I wanted to maintain a relationship with, because as you know, freshers, you mostly just meet people and you never talk to them again. But I didn't want that, so I made a list of people I actually wanted to keep in touch with. So let's say A, B, C, D, E. These are my friends. And then here I just wrote plans. So what I did is I would make plans with each of these people. And because there were so many people, because I'd met so many new people, I did kind of need a page like this to keep track of who I was going to meet up with or who I have already met up with and stuff like that. So here I would like write down plans of maybe asking them out for lunch, or giving them something, or just doing something with them, or texting them and stuff like that. And I think for me, being a student in a new country for the first time, that was very, very helpful in helping me focus my time on people who mattered, and to really remember to not like make myself into a hermit and not talk to people, but to actually reach out to people and achieve the goal of building a community. And I think that worked really well for me last year. Yeah, so that is basically my video on how to set goals using a bullet journal or not. And I hope you guys really enjoyed this video. Please let me know what videos you'd like to see next, and I will see you guys very soon. Have a happy new year, and bye!